they won in 1998. $13 billion they cleared over 20 years or so. Well, since then, the government of Canada, well, let me preface that by saying most states in the United States have followed suit with similar acts and similar lawsuits and similar wins. In Canada, provinces one by one got the go-ahead essentially back in 2005 when the Supreme Court there said, you can do the same thing, and that's what they're doing. With us today is Greg Montfortin. He is a lawyer with a coalition of attorneys in Canada right now who are putting together the same kind of lawsuit against big tobacco, where these kinds of lawsuits have not been successful yet, or haven't they even been attempted?
Well, there have been some attempted, but we haven't been, or there hasn't been a great deal of success to date. But the governments of our respective provinces have come to realize in the past number of years that something has to be done to stem the tide. So a majority of our provinces have recently passed legislation enabling them to sue big tobacco for the health care costs they've had to spend on account of tobacco-related illnesses.
Now, the Third-Party Liability Act in Florida did two major things that allowed the state to use statistics rather than trying each case on an individual basis and finding out what each smoker's health-related costs were. It allowed them to use statistics in court. Secondly, it gave the state the first payment option. In other words, if any company was deemed liable for the smoking-related costs of these smokers, the state was going to get paid first to make up for Medicaid. Is that kind of legislation that you're going after in Canada or in each of the provinces now?
Yes, the legislation that's been passed so far or is in the process of being passed by the various provinces is largely patterned on that passed in the United States back in the 1990s.
It was met with some resistance here. Other businesses didn't like it. Florida businesses and the chambers of commerce were saying, if you can do that to tobacco, you can do that to anybody. It's a bad for business law. Are you meeting that kind of resistance there?
Well, we are, and it's an old argument. It's the oldest argument in the world, but this legislation is designed to target tobacco and tobacco only.
The other argument is these provinces, the federal government of Canada has taxed these big tobacco companies for years, making untold billions of dollars. Is this kind of double dipping? You're getting them on one side, keeping tobacco legal, and then getting them on the other.
No, it's not. Canadian taxpayers spend over $4.8 billion a year in health care costs associated with tobacco-related illnesses. This is about holding the tobacco industry accountable. You know, when the oil industry, when one of their tankers runs aground and causes a great deal of damage, they're accountable. When pharmaceutical companies sell drugs which end up hurting or killing people, they're held accountable. Why should the tobacco industry get a free ride?
Who are you learning from here in Pensacola? What have you come to see actually, and whom to speak with?
Well, we're observing a trial being held involving the Levin Papantonio firm. As your viewers probably know, Fred Levin and Mike Papantonio and the Levin Papantonio firm played a key role in assembling the coalition of lawyers which took on big tobacco on behalf of 46 states in the 1990s. They have a proven track record of success. They know what they're doing, and we're delighted to be working with them.
And are they helping you with this Canadian lawsuit in any way, or are you just kind of interning, if you will, in Florida to see how they did it?
No, they're part of our coalition. They are part of the assemblage of lawyers that we've put together from coast to coast, and they will play a key role in the process. They won't be practicing law per se, but they will be playing a key role in the process.
And dollars and cents, it was $13 billion to Florida taxpayers is what they reaped, if you will, and still reaping. What's the dollar figure in Canada? What could it potentially be?
Well, the population of Canada is approximately 1/10 of that of the United States. We have approximately 30 million people. My understanding is in the United States, somewhere in the neighborhood of 400,000 people die every year from tobacco-related illnesses. In Canada, it's about 37,000 people. So it's essentially on the scale that's applicable in our country. Again, it's over $4.8 billion a year. It's 37,000 lives a year. The stakes may not be, the scale may not be quite as large in Canada, of course,
right,
as it is in the United States, but it's still very, very significant.
And you have caps that would apply there as well, right?
Well, there are damages caps in Canada. The litigation atmosphere, for lack of a better term, is much more conservative in Canada. If anything, it's going to probably prove even more difficult to fight tobacco in Canada than it has proven to be in the States. They're an extremely formidable opponent. Their strategy has always been to divide and conquer, to divide the plaintiffs, to divide plaintiffs' counsel. Levin Papantonio knows how to deal with those types of tactics, and that's why we're so happy to work with them.
Battle of the legal giants. Greg Montfortin, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
We'll keep track with it. Molly, back to you.
Thanks, Bob. We're taking a break.